Yeah, but Arsenal has low standards. It doesn't really count. I'm talking about a big club.
Plays with the public, Ollie's fine. It's just nah, stop it, guys.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Grounded Manchester United. There is music in the background. I don't know where that's coming from, and that's tilting me. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Basically, guys, we are now on Twitch. So please make sure you follow us on Twitch. Just the first XI, really excited about that. And yeah, make sure you follow us. We've got new shows coming. So obviously we've got the Big Six show that's going to be here soon as well. With Hassam, everyone knows who Hassam is. And yeah, Grounded Arsenal and Grounded Spurs are coming as well next week. So before we get into this, please smash that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I'm just going to introduce our panelists today. So we got Biz. Welcome to the channel. This is the first time you've been on. So thank you for coming on.
Thanks for the invite. Big up everyone on the panel today.
Yeah, he's love that. Obviously, you can find him on Never a Foul. So make sure you check out his channel, subscribe to the channel as well. Obviously, there's Grandad Indy here. Indy, how are you?
Feeling older now. Feeling a lot older now. You said that, but I'm good.
Dear. Yeah, welcome back, Indy. We miss you on here. Obviously, RDS as well. How are you doing, RDS?
I'm doing fine, still somewhat sane. But yeah, no, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me back. Just been manic a few months, as you can imagine. So fingers crossed we don't do any more lockdown stuff from now till December, you know. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And last but not least, it's Vita. Welcome back, Vita. Happy to have you here as well.
Yeah, it's good. Hope everyone's had a good day today. Big up everyone watching. Big up to the panel. Yeah,
big up everyone. Red Devil Labs, it's come from RDS's stream.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Basically,
nice.
talking about whether who should start De Gea or Henderson next season. So my community said that Henderson should, but that it is what it is with that.
Oh yeah, well, I think the fan base is really split on that, to be honest with you. But yeah, Red Devil Lab, welcome. And by the way, we're late because of RDS. That's your boy right there. You know, it's not our fault. We were all here waiting. It's all RDS's fault. Let's be real. So yeah, big up Shivam as well. He says Rashford is the only player to score 20 plus goals since Sir Alex Ferguson left, I guess, and people want him out of the team. Comment. Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. And he says Martial and Pogba need better players to play over them, and now their fans don't want Bruno and Rashford in the team. Yeah, this is a bit of a problem with our fan base, to be honest with you. They're always pitting players against each other. Yeah, it's ridiculous, if I'm being honest with you. We don't need that here. Indiana, obviously, Haaland to United next year. We'll have a little segment on that. But oh, big up Prime on Twitch as well, watching us on Twitch. Yeah, this is RDS's fault. Big up Mustafa as well. And yeah, we are going to start.
I had no idea.
Yeah, no idea. Yeah, he's not the biggest Ollie fan. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, we are going to start off with a Pogba versus Bruno as the 10 sort of discussion. I don't know what everyone's feelings are on it, but lately there's been a lot of people saying that they don't want Bruno in the team, as Shivam has said. I find it very strange personally, but I want to get your views. So we'll start off with you, Biz. What do you think of Bruno versus Pogba as the 10?
It's just dumb, innit, for real. Like, they both play for Man United, man. Appreciate both of them in this team. I understand why you would want Pogba at the 10, because obviously you want to control games, you want to play a game, and you want to make it look nice. Cool. But first and foremost, man, I want to win games, man. I want to score goals, innit? And I want my 10 to assist as well. Bruno gives me all of that. Yeah, Pogba, I know we're trying to find a CDM that can fit both of them in the system in the 4-3-3 and play them as both 8s, but Ole ain't going to do that. And for me right now, 4-2-3-1 just works with the players that we've got. And I kind of like Pogba out on the left, man. And into the end of last season, I thought he done really well there, and he had probably some of his best games at the club. And for me, it's Bruno in the 10, man. Like don't change something that's almost fixed.
No, it's fair enough, to be honest with you. I think they just offer different things as tens,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah,
But no, I hear you completely. I think they both have very different strengths and very different weaknesses, and people just prefer certain things. It's all about preference for a lot of people, rather than sort of logic when it comes to those two players. Indiana, what do you reckon? Bruno as 10 or Pogba as the 10?
I think with all the problems at Man United is the most stupid thing I've ever heard. Like, think about how we play, right?
Mm.
So one of the main reasons for Bruno playing in there as well is also the way he presses. Pogba's not going to do that. Bruno takes the pressure off a lot from our midfield, thankfully, because they're not good enough. They're not good enough. It is what it is. Do I want to see Pogba out on the left? Not really. I'd like now Varane's come in. I'd like to see Pogba. I'd like to see a 4-3-3. I'd like to see Ollie try that. Yes, we need the midfielder. It looks like we're trying to get one. If we get one, I'd like to see Pogba play on the left of a 3 and have a bit more freedom. That's what I wanted to see him do. That's where he was at Juventus. It worked for him. I don't really want to see him out wide, and the reason is because I feel he can offer more. He can offer a lot more from midfield if he's given that freedom. Since we've bought Paul Pogba, we've never backed him as a club. We've never bought the players that he needs around him to perform. You need to let this guy fly. He's way too talented to be held back like he has been, in my opinion. I wouldn't take Bruno out of the 10. I think that's crazy. Like, at the end of the day, football's about numbers, right? So it's about goals and assists, and that's where he works. So I don't really get it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I think if Pogba is going to play in the middle and then we're still going to play Bruno, we are going to need a DM, a very, very good one. Because we know Pogba and Bruno defensively, at times, they leave a lot to be desired. So unless we change things altogether and go for something like a diamond or something like that, where you can put all those players in and still be solid in midfield, I think it would be difficult. But yeah, for 4-3-3, we definitely need a CDM for that. I don't think we have the players to play the 4-3-3 as you said. So, perhaps this 4-3-3 should use you FIFA merchant.
I just want us to get the best out of our players. Do you know what I mean? It's so unbalanced in that midfield, and we do need that DM. And I think if we got a DM, we're going to see more from Pogba, and we'll also see Donny van de Beek. We'll also see Donny play.
Yeah, no, that's true. We know that Donny's been learning to play a deeper role in the midfield as well. So, and he's bulked up as well. So he looks like he's worked hard for that role, which is pretty good. Could it arguably be a thing where you have Donny van de Beek, and then he'll play next to a Matic or something like that, and then maybe you'd have Pogba and Bruno further out to play further forward? Do you think they will do something like that?
I don't think Pogba or Bruno get dropped.
the only thing is, man, we've just signed Sancho, so where does he fit in all this?
Well, he'll be part of the front three, won't he, Sancho?
He'd be stuff in the lap. In the
If you
interchange.
play a diamond,
You got
Oh,
to.
no, I'm talking about if we play a 4-3-3.
okay, cool.
I think he might go with the 4-2 again, but I think that you obviously know that Rashford is probably going to be out for two months with his shoulder thing, and Martial looks like he might be ready for the start of the season. So is that my mic that's clicking, or
I think so. I think so.
That's strange. I'm just trying to say that. Is that better?
So no, it's right. Keep talking. It's okay. It's not that bad. At least it isn't for me. Is it bad for you guys?
No.
No. Okay. Cool.
No.
Okay. No worries. I'll switch to my computer one if it's. It's gone. Okay, that's weird. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. So bearing in mind that like Martial and Rashford are probably going to be out. They're not going to start this season because of their respective injuries. I imagine that Ollie will start with Pogba on the left like he did in the previous team, which would mean that Bruno would then come in the 10th position anyway. And then could you make a case for, say, you mentioned Van der Beek and Fred playing together? 'Cause that's probably one of the only things that I've not seen yet. I've seen Matic but I've not seen Van der Beek and Fred. And
Van der
I
Beek and
know,
Fred played last season against Istanbul. We won 4-1. And it was one of Donny's better games, but even still, man, he lacked a bit of discipline in that position at times. But
I mean, Van der Beek, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, I don't know whether that might be, I mean, I'm saying that hypothetically, he's probably going to play McTominay there if we don't get another midfielder. They love McTominay too much. He's going to be there. But I would certainly like to see a Van der Beek Fred's situation there and see if we could do that, because I do think Fred is at least a better tackler. I know he's not great. I know people don't like Fred, but I do think that Fred's a better tackler recovering the ball than McTominay is. McTominay, for me, is not a CDM whatsoever. Like, he's a box to box, he goes forward, and when he plays with Pogba, he tends to play ahead of Pogba instead of behind him. At least Fred will play behind him. So yeah, maybe a Fred Van der Beek pivot, which would then mean that Pogba will probably play on the left, given the fact that Martial and Rashford are probably not going to start the season for the first few weeks or so.
Well, that's fair enough. Vita, what do you think? Pogba or Bruno as a 10? I feel like everyone's going to say Bruno as a 10, to be fair, but I just want to take your views. So, Vita, let me know.
In my opinion, it just feels like it has to be Bruno at the 10, because if you watch like United games when we would like have like, I feel like with Pogba is like you have to have a system where he's like, you have to have a system where he's able to go forward, because Pogba said it himself defensively, he just ain't cut out for it. But I could see why people want Pogba in the 10, but then again, you kind of miss that kind of ball over the top. You miss that ball out of nowhere with Bruno, that kind of his special element. And then on top of that, with Bruno, I just feel like he puts a better fit into the team, especially with how we play. We play, especially in weeks. We kind of play a little bit more, I don't want to say dynamic, but a little bit more, what's the word, inverted in a sense. Is at times, so I just feel like with Pogba, with Pogba, I feel like it just wasn't work. And plus, Pogba's best position, in my opinion, is in a left-sided two, in a double pivot, a little bit more advanced, in a maybe a box-to-box type of role, in my opinion. Because it's just something about, and plus with Pogba, you got that long ball, which sometimes in the game of us, we like to hit a long ball every top, you miss that element, and Pogba just sticking them on the left for me. As much as it works against my biggest thing I can remember with Spurs, it worked very well. After a while, it just like you just don't have the extra element that Bruno gives you. He gives you that extra element, in my opinion. And I don't understand this Bruno Pogba debate, because each one of them has a different characteristic that if you put in the 10, it works. But then again, it's like who can do it more consistently than the other. And we're seeing time and time again with Bruno, you can stick Fred and McTominay in the midfield, and Bruno's still able to do what he has to do if they don't mark him out of the game. With Pogba, you have to have an actual player. You have to have him in a midfield where he's able to do what he has to do. With Bruno, is like you can put him virtually in any midfield, and it's like as long as you have the license to go forward and find that pass, or just license to do anything, it works.
No, that's a good point, to be fair. I think a lot of people, they don't like the fact that Bruno's dribbling isn't great. So whenever he's in tight spaces at times, Bruno just tries to pass it, and it's impossible for him to make the pass, and he will just lose the ball. I think that's something that people find very frustrating.
Well, they're
Whereas,
gonna hate Sancho next season. They're gonna hate Sancho next season because his game is about losing the ball, getting it back, and keep trying and trying.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think people fail to understand that that the further up the pitch you are, the more you sort of give the ball away. So it's
VT, you
kind
make
of
a
normal.
really good point then, because
Oh, big up Muncie.
there are people that say it's freestyle football, and it will look like freestyle football with Sancho. He does lose the ball a lot. He loses it more than Bruno loses the ball. Again, that's why we need that player in midfield who can recycle the ball well. I think it's why they're looking at a Trippier, someone who can come outside and put the ball in, because it's not Wan-Bissaka's game at all. But yeah, it's gonna look like freestyle football at times with Sancho. It will. That's just his game, though. That is just his game.
It is. You watch him in a game, you wonder why he gets that much assist. And hopefully, when it comes to Premier League, it's not going to be that big of a shock, because he's played English football before. But people is definitely going to say, what did we buy? And it's like, if you haven't watched him at Dortmund before, you don't know what you're getting. with him, and that's the saddest part with it because we actually now have a fluent front four. If you want to say Cavani, Martial, whoever want to put up top, we have a fluent, I want to say, interchanging between the left wing, right wing, and Cam, where we can actually do a bit more. It's just we got a striker and a defensive midfielder, and we can cope with that. And most people wouldn't realize that you have to keep trying again. And that's he said as far. Pretty football sometimes doesn't have to look pretty to look ugly as well. That's how you win a
Mhm.
game.
Yeah, sometimes it's about how effective you are, not about how pretty you are. So, you make some really good points, Vita, to be fair. And it sort of segues onto sort of the starting 11 against Leeds. I don't know who is fit. I know that Dean Henderson has COVID, doesn't he? So he won't
Yeah.
be fit for the game. So I'm assuming David De Gea is going to be in goal, unless it's going to be a surprise and you see Tom Heaton in there, which I really doubt.
Well, you know what, Tom Heaton, why not? You never know.
I mean,
You actually never know.
in the day,
Yeah,
Tommy
that's cool.
was actually a good keeper. Like I was in a debate with someone about this when talking about the keeper thing, and I was like, in fairness to Tom Heaton, I actually think that he commands the box better than Dean Henderson and De Gea do. His distribution isn't as good, but in terms of actually commanding the area and being like, listen, this is my thing, you go and do that, etc. I think he's better with that, but he has been out of the game for a bit, so yeah.
I hear that. So are we going Tom Heaton in goal? Yeah.
No. Grounded football. Remember, grounded football.
Okay, fine. David De Gea is in goal. Fine.
It's not a prime stream now,
No, that's fair enough. Monty says, "Can I have a shout out for the Man United agenda?" Yeah, guys, please make sure you subscribe to that channel. It's a very good channel. They have a lot of great panelists, and they have some really good guests as well. They've got oh my gosh, I've forgotten his name from Stretford Paddock. Jay
Motti.
Jay Motti, yeah, he goes into their channel quite a bit. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to them. Check them out. They're actually really good. There's some great people on there. So yeah, they got Munzi and Man United agenda. Andres Pereira. Well, yeah, I'm going to assume so. It's going to be AWB because we haven't got a right back at the moment, another right back to compete with him. So Wan-Bissaka. Does anyone object to not playing Varane Maguire? Does anyone object to it, or
I don't think will Varane be available for the game?
Yeah, I heard it's like having problems with his visa and stuff.
Yeah, because a visa.
They said he was coming tomorrow, if I remember correctly.
Tomorrow, and then he'll have to. But then he thinks he has to quarantine, doesn't he?
Yeah,
5 days.
Is it 5 days? Is it?
Yeah, so he should more or less.
Then he have to train though as well, so he has to at least have one. He can't be thrown right into. He has to have at least one, maybe 2 training sessions. Game, so it might. I think it might be a bench.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
No, I was just saying, it might be a bench situation that he's there, but maybe he's on the bench and he comes on as opposed to he starts right away. I don't know.
I don't know if you guys remember when Maguire signed for us. I think he signed on the Tuesday or the Wednesday. Maybe had 1 training session and then played on the Sunday against Chelsea. So,
but he had a pre-season, didn't he?
Oh, with Leicester.
I don't know what. Yeah, I believe he played in all of their games, if I remember correctly. I think that's probably why he was match sharp. Whereas Varane, I don't think he's played much. So we never know. But
I don't know. We've just had the Euros. It's not like they haven't played.
Yeah, and plus he has been in training for the last week.
Yeah,
or so with Real,
I think he plays personally.
Okay.
Fair. Oh, Mustafa makes a point actually. Do we want to go 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1? What do we think is the play?
It's going to be 4-2-3-1, isn't it?
I don't think we're going to get a DM by the time the season starts. It's just not happening.
Why does it look like this? What, it says 4-2-3-1 at the top. Oh, well, whatever. But that's going to tilt me actually. Okay.
What do you not think of
why is it not changed?
If there's a part of the season, do you think Bailly and Varane could work a little partnership together?
Maguire's not getting dropped.
Yeah.
If he gets injured.
For instance, he does get injured, because obviously when he did get injured at the end of last season, everyone was panicking, who are we going to play in the final?
It'd be Lindelof, wouldn't it?
I think I'll leave play Lindelof in that case.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm done with Lindelof. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
same,
Like,
man.
Same.
I saw his performance.
listen, I don't want it to be Ray. I'm saying that it will be Lindelof.
Oh, yeah. I saw his performance in the Sweden, and I was like, man, this is exactly why this guy shouldn't be at First United. Constantly getting bullied over and over. That goal against was it when they got knocked out against Ukraine? Same thing. Literally comes over him, gets bullied, heads the ball, Sweden knocked out. All on Lindelof. I'm like, you can't have that again this season. I'm sorry. So
No, I hear that.
It
I mean,
is
the thing is, he
such a
does like
shame.
Lindelof. Go on, Indy.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's such a shame that Bailly is so injury prone.
Mm.
It's such a shame because you can see how talented he is, and you know if he had a run of like 5 games, I think we'd have a top centre back.
Yeah.
But I
think-
can't.
Sometimes he
can't ever
frustrates
see
me.
him.
But I don't rate him as highly as other people. Like, he's not bad. It's just he does some nonsense all the time.
He does
Like absolute nonsense.
But you know what? Most of the times,
games.
but the thing is, most of the times with Bailly's nonsense, yeah, like we don't really concede off it. It's just like it looks weird and like off key at times. And you're like, right,
Mm.
Bailly, what are you doing? But then most time, like it actually doesn't really come off as a goal. But when Bailly was in the team, we were top of the league, and then we all said to ourselves, like a lot of most United Twitter fans were saying, if Bailly gets injured, United ain't gonna win the league, and that's basically what happened.
Yeah, but in that period, Bailly wasn't playing every game, even when he was fit, because
No, true.
he can't play. He can't play every game. He has to play like once every 2 games or something like that, because he can't play. Because we had like a ridiculous fixture list, didn't we? We were playing like 3 games a week, so he's never going to be available. Like, for example, the December period, he's not going to play regularly. He's going to be taken out a lot because he can't physically do it. So that's one of the problems with him. Anyway, he's in my opinion, he should have been sold. Because he's not reliable. He's had I think he's been out for like nearly 2/3 of his time here at United. It's something ridiculous.
Crazy.
And it's just not good enough for the money that he's on. Like he's not worth it. As talented as people may think he is, I just don't think he's worth it.
He needs to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to Spain. Like the weather in Manchester midwinter cannot be helping with his injuries, man.
Yeah.
Like just go to a warmer climate where you can play football.
It's crazy that he only made his 100th appearance back in, I think, late April. And
Also,
Maguire had made that in 2 years.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Although I do think that Maguire should have been playing. I do think he needs to be managed a bit better. Like, I get Maguire's really, really fit, but the sort of gun. There was some times when I was like, okay, come on, like you don't have to play Maguire and Lindelof. You know, some dead-on game, cup games. You're like, we don't.
Ronaldo away.
We can play Twansibi. Twansibi's there. I think there's no issue with Twansibi. We can play him. Why are we playing Maguire in this game for what? So I do think that man better a bit. So, yeah.
No, I agree with that, to be fair. But you can say that for a lot of things. I remember when Oli brought on Rashford and started Bruno when we were 4-0 up against Sociedad. It was ridiculous. None of them should have even played.
Yeah,
so,
that's right. Yeah.
You know,
there's some mad moves, isn't there? It's just madness.
Yeah. That's when you should be playing youth, in my opinion. That's when you bring on Shortire, Elonge, Mengi, Twansibi, all the rest of it. When you're that short, bring them on. Because I know this is a tangent, but one of my beasts with Oli this last season, potentially into this season, is that we do have, I genuinely believe, a lot of talented young players that I just think need to be given a few games. I'm not saying like tons of games, but like when there's opportunities to play them, and then we can improve our depth rather than having to go out and sign players sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The pressure of him just having to win, though, that's the problem, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but
we
when
were 4-0 up in that Sociedad game, there was no excuses for it.
When there's no,
it was crazy.
Yeah, when you're 4-0 up, yeah.
Come on,
you're at home in the second leg as well.
Yeah,
Rashford's carrying 10,000 injuries. There's no need to bring him on at half time.
I just don't think Ali doesn't want to risk it. I think he's just at this point where before we can maybe get 5, 6, 7. Like I think he's just in that mindset.
But the thing is, when we even played some youngs, they haven't even been that bad. Like I remember when we played Leicester City, when we changed. I know we ended up losing, but we didn't lose because of Diallo, Ilanga, and was Sholo, I think, was playing. We lost because Matic was playing.
Matic and Fred freaking
we lose because of the experienced players, some not because of the youngsters. The Elanga and stuff like that are doing. I'm not saying they're perfect, they're doing what they can, you know. So his reliance on experience actually ends up costing us sometimes. But that's another thing.
Well, I remember Danny making a really good point and saying that you can't play Matic and Fred in midfield together because they're both left-footed. And he's right. It is a really bad. You don't play two left-footed centre backs either. You just it's something you just don't do. And Matic and Fred never look good together. Never. I remember the Crystal Palace game, probably one of the worst games we've seen us play. And it was those two midfield, and just nothing happened. It was just horrible to watch, to be honest with you. Vibes FC says, I'm sure I've seen a post saying Baim is 96 games through injuries and he's played 100 games. Is this true? Does anyone know if this is true? This is insane.
Nope.
No,
I don't know.
I don't.
I have to just research that. That's crazy if that's true. We're going to move on to the midfield. We're going to assume this is a 4-2-3. I'll just think of the two wide ones as the two, because for some reason it's not working. But the double pivot. What are we thinking? You think McTominay, Fred?
Yeah.
Does anyone else think it's McTominay, Fred?
No, I think for Leeds,
That's what it's
it will
gonna.
be
If it was
McTominay
up to
and Fred.
me,
I mean, I don't know.
I'd like to see Matic and Donny, but that's not gonna happen.
Does Ollie think that he's going to give Van der Beek a chance?
No, not against Leeds, because they're
No.
just they come out the blocks, they're flying at you. It has to be McFred in there.
Yeah, but in the away game, they were a lot more compact and they were a bit more defensive. You know, the one we drew with them, they didn't make the same mistake as they did at Old Trafford where we battered them. They were actually more cautious of it. So I don't expect them to be open. If I'm honest with you, I think they'll be a bit more cautious.
Yeah, because I think it just might be McFred. I don't see Ollie changing it up and putting Donny or Matic or Donny and Pogba, whatever the case might be. I think Ollie might just go with what we was playing with last season, in that midfield, McFred, Bruno, and Titan, and just keep it like that, and just tell McTominay to just get forward. I think it just might be that.
No, that's fair enough. So we're thinking McTominay, Fred is what is likely to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you thinking, Indiana? State your case.
What I'm thinking is that Ollie likes to play Dan James in these games.
I forgot that.
First game of the season.
No, but no, he's not.
I'm telling you.
He's not going to drop Pogba though.
We'll discuss that when we get to the front three, because
then what does that mean for the midfield? Because Pogba plays, right?
Yeah, he's not going to drop Pogba and Bruno, and I don't think he'll want to start Sancho. So I don't think he'll play James in this.
But he might, you know. He just might, you know. Ollie
As a number 9.
I'm not sure.
Ollie likes that pace because Ollie likes that pace. You put Dan James on the wing and tell him hit a ball over the top and James goes through. It just might happen. It just might.
Okay, so for that to happen, that means Pogba would go into the midfield because no one else is playing that long ball consistently.
Just drop Fred.
I think Pogba's going to start on the left, Sancho on the right, Cavani through the middle. I'd just say that because the last time we played Leeds, obviously we won 6-2 the first game, then Bielsa completely changed the whole tactics and went 2 banks for 4, and then just have Calvin Phillips just chasing down Bruno all game. So like they are literally going to sit back that first game of the season, so there ain't going to be much space. So we're going to need a bit of a patient build up. So I think he's going to go Pogba, Sancho on either flanks and let Cavani do his thing up front.
Ollie did say.
Yeah,
oh, sorry, go on, Rachel.
No, I was saying I agree with Liz. To be honest with you, I understand why you think he played Dan James, but I think he'll look at the last game that we played against them and know that they're not gonna make the same mistake they did at Old Trafford. That's what I think that's gonna happen. I don't think Dan James starts. I think he comes on if in the second half Leeds open up a bit. Yeah, that's probably what will happen. But go on.
Do we not think that Martial plays?
Martial's injured, I think, or still
No.
recovering.
No, he's training.
He's training, right?
He's training. Yeah, he's training.
All right.
He's training. He's ready to go. Do we not think that Pogba goes into midfield and Martial goes out wide?
Potentially.
I'd be surprised if it didn't happen if Martial's fit.
The only thing I would say is that Ollie did kind of say that she said a few times that signing Varane can potentially make us play differently.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he will do that, but he did say a few times, almost inferring that we've got Varane, we might try something a bit different. So I do wonder, maybe the Pogba Varane understanding in France, I don't know. So maybe he might try a Pogba, Fred, Bruno midfield with Varane being there.
Maybe.
He has done that before. Pogba,
Nah,
Bruno.
not Fred. He won't pick Fred. It'll be McTominay.
Yeah.
If he's gonna play one player in there, it won't be Fred. It'll be McTominay.
He's
Fred is the
played.
most undisciplined player I've ever seen in my life.
He's played Fred Pogba there before, and I'd argue Fred is more disciplined in that DM role than McTominay is, because McTominay doesn't play there. McTominay goes. What happens is Pogba ends up playing that role, and McTominay goes forward.
I'm
So-
not
No,
talking about
I
three. Then.
disagree. I think it's the other way around. When
I think it's the other way
Fred
around.
plays, when Fred plays alongside Pogba, I find that Fred is the one that pushes up. He always gets a lot of shots off when he plays alongside Pogba because he's always the one that pushes up towards the edge of the box, and Pogba sits a bit more, and he's sort of like trying to dictate play. I think McTominay. The thing is with McTominay, as much as I don't rate McTominay, but he is learning to be more disciplined in the midfield. He towards the end of the season, that's what he was doing. His positioning was better. Wasn't great. It's not amazing or anything like that, but it was better than what it was in the beginning of the season. So I think Ollie is trying to get him to play that sort of DM role. I don't think he'd be particularly great at it, to be honest with you.
No.
But I think of the two of them, I think McTominay is probably the one that's going to sit more. And Fred, and the thing is, if you play Fred sitting, it's just going to stifle him because his best attribute is to get forward and press high up the pitch. If you start getting him to sit, then he loses half of his game, and at that point, there's just no point playing him, in my opinion. So
I agree.
Maybe I don't know. I just see that with McTominay as well, because much like Fred, I feel McTominay's actually is that as well. Even the game against Leeds, the first game, that was essentially what McTominay was doing, going forward, and obviously creating for that as well. So, but I don't know. I've just never been convinced with McTominay and Pogba as a double pivot in that midfield. Like in the games I remember, we always see. I don't know what it is. We always seem to play badly when we have McTominay. Whether it's the final against Phil when we created nothing, or even in I think it was against Arsenal. Was it against Arsenal? I think it was
Chelsea on the first game of the season. I know we won 4-0, but Pogba and McTominay were just getting overrun in the midfield that day.
that was 2 seasons ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
Oh, no, it was. I think so. I think it was 2
But
years.
certainly games when I've seen that play,
90-20.
like, they just haven't worked. But yeah, you're right. He's gonna play McTominay Pogba there, isn't he? So that's just
So we're thinking McTominay, Pogba, Bruno.
that's what
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. So we've got
What are we
Pogba
saying?
in there.
A 4-3-3.
No. For some reason, the 4-2-3-1 just wouldn't switch to a 4-2-3-1. So we're just going to say Pogba and McTominay in the pivot, and then Fernandes playing as the 10. Shivam has a
Well,
question.
I wouldn't be angry
I
at it.
really
Of
don't
Rashford
want to
as a
see
player.
Pogba in the pivot no more.
No, the thing is,
I would-
Pogba
I
in the
would-
pivot would be fine if we had the right player that can allow him to
yeah,
go forward.
no,
He
I
has to play
understand
too deep, I think, alongside McTominay or Fred, because
Yeah,
they're not true DMs, are they?
He
no.
plays with
I wouldn't be
France,
angry
it's
at a
fine.
4-3-3. You know, with Varane in
Mhm.
there, I wouldn't be angry at it. I don't love McTominay being in the DM, but I wouldn't be angry with like the back four, McTominay sitting, Pogba and Bruno or Van der Beek, and then Martial, Cavani and Sancho up top. I wouldn't be angry at it. I wouldn't be angry at seeing it to know that it doesn't work. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Shivam did ask though, what do you guys think of Rashford as a player? We'll quickly go through everyone. Biz, what do you make of Rashford as a
Yeah,
player?
man, he's a good player. Like 20 goals back to back, 2 seasons in a row. We've seen how he's grown from the kid that came on against, was it Midtjylland and Arsenal, to the player he is today, man. He's stepped up so much. Still got levels to develop. But yeah, I love Rashford, bro. Innit? Like, there's nothing more he can really do right now. Obviously, with the shoulder injury that he's had, but he's having the surgery, and who knows, man? It might unleash another level that he can go up to. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he brings next season.
Yeah, no, that's true. He's finally getting his surgery, which is great. I think
Yeah.
he's back. Is it mid-October?
Yeah.
I think that's what he said. So hopefully he's sort of back to his best at that point. To be honest with you, Indiana, what do you make of Rashford?
I think he gets a lot of stick. If I'm honest,
Yeah.
it's he's played a lot of football under, is it 3 managers, 3 or 4,
Yeah,
in
3. Yeah.
unbalanced sides. It's not done him any favors. I do question his decision making a lot of the time, but
Mm.
we are starting to see the best of him. I love his determination. He loves the club. He works hard for the team. That's the difference between him and Martial for me. Is although Martial is a lot more talented, a lot more talented. Even when Rashford's having a bad game, it's always
Still gonna
maximum
try.
effort. Always maximum effort with him, and I can't knock him for that. Is he ever going to be a world class player? No, it's not. I don't. I think there's too many flaws in his game that he won't get out now.
Mm.
But I don't know why. I don't know why he gets so much slander. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me.
It's crazy. Most of the reason is because he's not saucy enough. That tends to be the consensus with people. It's either he's not saucy like Martial. If there's always like again, there's always a comparison. Martial, Rashford. It's
It's mad.
boring. It really is. Like one has the end product, the other doesn't. One looks saucy on the ball, the other doesn't. I mean, it's just boring to be honest with you.
I mean, if you look at the Rashford, like his mentality is so. Like, I wish I had his mentality at that age. Like playing under 3 managers, LVG, like miserable as like anything. Mourinho, not much happier. And then like to work with Ole, it's like 3 completely different managers, yeah. But like no matter what, you're still gonna get 110% out of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. He's not the most techiest, but bro, like goals and assists wins you games, isn't it? And he gives you that week in, week out. So
I think Mourinho liked
simple as,
that
man.
reason. Because at the end of the day, I think Mourinho just didn't want Pogba or Martial at the club, but was happy to allow on Lingard and Rashford for that reason. So because of the hard working, the loyalty, the commitment and stuff. So and the impression of being not trying hard. But yeah, I think my fear of Rashford is that this ends up being like another Michael Owen situation where the guy's played basically into the ground and just picks up injuries and his career is basically over by 25. He's not. I don't. If I'm honest, I don't think he's played that great in the last 16 months.
Mm.
And probably a lot of that stems from playing injured, and he's alluded to that. So hopefully, when he gets his surgery, personally for me, I think that I don't want to say he shouldn't come straight back into the team, but I just think that like he should ease his way back into the team as opposed to, okay, I'm back in October, right? I need to do everything and stuff like that as well. I would like to see him almost like rely on his teammates a bit more. Sometimes I feel like he plays for like a chip on his shoulder in the sense of I've got to do this. I'm Manchester McKieran, and there have been times I'm like Rashford, man, just pass to Cavani's open or Pogba's free. Like have a look, just pass. You don't have to do everything by yourself. And maybe that's because he's still young, and maybe when he gets a bit older, he'll become a bit more reliant on his teammates. Sorry about the mic, guys. I don't know what's going on with this thing. But yeah. I just hope that his career isn't ended early because of injuries, and 2, that hopefully as he gets older, like his decision making in terms of having a look around, seeing, because he gets a lot of good positions when he runs, and he often makes the wrong decision. And if I'm honest, I would even make an argument that Greenwood has better decision making than Marcus Rashford, in my opinion. And he showed that towards last season. I'm not trying to compare. I'm not trying to pick Greenwood and Rashford together. I'm just trying to say that it would be. I just think that like he just needs to just remind himself that like he's a good player, but he can also rely on other good players in his team, and he doesn't have to do everything by himself.
Yeah, I hear that. That's fair enough, to be honest with you. Too often we've seen him sort of run into traffic when there's better options. I think every United fan remembers that happening on a regular basis. So yeah, that's something he does need to work on, to be honest with you.
When you see him start doing his little step overs, you just know what's coming next. I feel like his game's a bit too predictable. And I just feel like with time, obviously, when you get older, you kind of wise up a bit more. So I feel like his decision making will come. I feel like we have to. I feel like everyone says you play on the injuries, but having your ankle, your back, and your shoulder, and you're still able to produce for the team, that is something that I feel like most fans need to say, you know what, I applaud you for that, because 3 injuries and you're still one of our top goal scorers. You don't hear that often. I feel like his hard work just goes out the window because, like what everyone said, he's not pleasing on the eye. Same thing with Bruno. He's not pleasing on the eye, but if you look at his game, if it fixes up a little bit, he'll be a good player. He'll be a United good player, very good player, first team 11. Better than he is now.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Mustafa says, I'm sure Neves will come knowing Ollie. I've read that basically it's going to happen probably in like a couple of weeks or so because they're trying to sell players first. So we'll see how that develops, to be honest with you. I'm not too sure on having Neves at United, but he's better than McTominay and he's better than Fred, in my opinion. Vibes FC, says, according to Transfer Market, he has missed that many games. Don't know if it's reliable though. Well, I think that's to do with the Eric Bailly stat. That's crazy, to be honest with you. Why Bruno playing as a DM? He's not. It's just 43 and he's not working, Mustafa. Sorry, Indiana, go on.
I was just saying, like, I was thinking about it, and because you said players out, when you think of our sort of forward line, so like wide forwards and centre forwards, we're stacked out. Players got to move on. We have to move players on. You think about it. You have like Dan James, Diallo, Rashford, Martial, Pogba plays out wide sometimes. You got Cavani, Greenwood, Sancho. Like that's too many players. And in all of that, you have one young kid and one striker who's getting too old. Makes no sense.
Yeah, no, it's true. We do have a lot of players that are just deadwood, and hopefully we can get rid of them. Like I read that we rejected a deal for Pereira.
From Lazio.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. Just get rid of him. He's not going to be playing for us in the first team. He's not going to get in. Even if we have injuries, he probably won't get in. So there's no point
if we still got Lingard.
I've even seen.
Yeah, we still have Lingard.
I've seen Lingard wants to stay and fight for his place. You just have to force these people on. You just have to. There's no reason why we should be going into a season and Lingard is our second number 10. Like, come on. Like, I think by now he knows that he's not fighting for Bruno's place. And at that point, for your career as a player, just move on. Just move on.
Not to mention the impediment that is to our young players as well. Like, we couldn't play young players last season because of all the, senior players in court that needed game time. So like we need to move certain players on because not only just for the fact that we need to sign certain key players to give us the money to be able to sign a DM, for example, but just to allow the youth that we have in our academy to blossom. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe in a season or two, Ghana comes good. We don't know. Maybe Alanga and Surete again, a couple of seasons come good. We don't know. But like, we know that Manchester United do produce good academy players. Like we see them, they're playing for us now. So I'd hate for us to miss out on potentially good academy players because we can't move on players that have been at the club for too long.
No, it's true. Absolutely true. I agree with that. Shivam says for Pereira it was a loan deal. Was it a loan deal? I thought it was like a 20 million transfer fee. My bad.
Unless it was that, I think what United seem to be doing, the board seems to be doing, is like the same thing with Diallo as well, is that they're only accepting loans if the clubs offer like an option to buy. So I think if the clubs that they're loaned to, like I think Milan are like, oh, we're not entirely sure an option, but they wanted to have an option to buy of a certain amount of 20 million. And so the club's like, we don't know whether we're going to have 20 million to potentially buy this player at the end of their loan deal. So.
Oh, that makes sense, to be honest with you. Wendy Grant says, will Greenwood's role this season be solely as a backup centre forward? Ahmad can back up Sancho on the right wing. That is true, to be honest with you. What do you guys think? Do you think Greenwood's going to be playing more as a striker this season?
I think he might in the cup games or anything like that, but I think in league you'll see him more on the right. I think you'll see him more on the right. I don't think, I hate to say it, but I don't think we will see Diallo as much as people anticipate we will, because Greenwood can play that right wing role. We've seen it the last season and a half. I think cup games you may see him against like a Stockport County. You may see him play striker, but I don't think you're gonna see him play as a second striker in the Prem unless Martial is injured, unless Cavani's injured. if that makes sense. Other than that, I just think Prem is strictly right wing Greenwood. Cup games is striker Greenwood that we've seen. You can't rush him. So, and I think Ollie will notice him as a striker as well. You can't rush somebody young to be a Man United striker because holding the front line for Man United is a very huge thing. So I think Ollie in his mind is even if you ease him in now, it takes maybe a year or 2 years to get used to that role because he is going to be our striker in the future. I think most United fans could virtually say that, or people in football in general could say that. But you have to ease him into that role, and I don't think we will see Greenwood as striker as much as we will, even though he is bulking up and he is getting better. You will probably see him start to progress in the next year to a year to 2 years.
The only thing is, I don't think Cavani will be able to play 2 games in a week. So when Champions League comes through, when FA Cup comes, when League Cup comes through, I don't think Cavani himself knows it's got to be managed. So it looks like he'll put out. He might play 2, but I think generally speaking, he'll play 1. So if we've got Champions League, for example, he'll probably play in Champions League, and then maybe Greenwood might play as number 9, assuming that Rashford is still not back yet from injury and what have you. So that might be where Greenwood gets his number 9 opportunity, given the fact that Cavani won't be able to play as many games.
Unfortunately, I think he'll play Martial there.
Yeah, I can. I don't.
And I don't
see
want to see Martial in the number 9 role. He's not a 9 for me. I don't.
You think Ollie will start him against Leeds as a number 9? Because we do have to do the
No,
transfer.
not if Cavani's fit. I think Ollie. Listen, Ollie's got Manchester United through and through. He knows what a big game Leeds is. You know, Leeds is a huge game for Manchester United. But I think we'll see Martial playing up top. And again, we're forgetting that Ollie does actually like Dan James. So Diallo's not really going to play, in my opinion.
I think Diallo's gone out on loan, to be honest.
I think it's good. I think it'd be good for Diallo to go out on loan, but I would like to see Greenwood play the League Cup games, the FA Cup games. I'd like to see him come off the bench when we're up in games, up top.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him get some game time. He's an incredible talent, and the only way he's going to improve now is by playing, in my opinion. He needs to play with the first team. I'm not saying start him in big games. I'm not saying start him week in, week out. But RDS makes a great point. Cavani will pull himself out of games when he's past fit. Even when past fit, he will pull himself out of games and say he can't play. So he's not going to play every week. And we've got some tough fixtures. Like the runs of fixtures we've got are ridiculous. And then you throw Champions League in there, it's mad. So don't be surprised if we see Martial up top again for a lot of games.
Because I'll be playing like Spurs, Leicester, and like Liverpool within like back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I think that this is where I don't want to go into the debate of Ollie's coaching as much or not, because we could be here all day. But this is where the rotation thing is going to be like, is Ollie going to do it like last season, where he's going to pick? Basically, he has a squad and he's only going to pick 13 players, and he's going to use those 13 players from now till March. Because if he does that again this season, I don't think this is going to work. Looks at the stuff he said. It's going to be very busy. It's going to be very hectic, and he needs to be able to rotate. And I think we have the squad to be able to rotate. He just needs to trust some of those players. Maybe not the Freddie McTominays, but with some of the signings we made, he has more of that now. So he should be able to do that. I don't think there's much of an excuse.
I think that was the
Indiana shared the fixture list. What was it? Was it November? The really difficult.
Yeah. After 6 games, I think the first 6 games are fairly straightforward, but after that, the next 8 is crazy. We play literally everyone in the top 8.
It's disgusting, is what it is. It's disgusting.
What I remember about Christmas, though, our Christmas period, if we once get over November, our Christmas period is quite good, though.
Yeah.
We have an easy Christmas schedule, I think.
I have it up. We played Leicester, Poole, then Tottenham, then City, Watford, Chelsea, Arsenal, and then going into December, it's just Crystal Palace, Norwich, Brentford. So our whole month of basically October and November, we're playing the Big Six. And plus Arsenal. But, yeah.
Poor troll.
Hey, respect Arsenal, man. They signed Ben White for 50 million. play. Come on, world class
Apparently, they're
defender.
getting Lautaro Martinez.
And I
Yeah.
heard Iron
Don't know
That's
Ramsey.
about
not
that.
surprised, but you never know these days, to be honest with
I
you.
don't know about that.
Shivam says, where do you think Martial should play and expectation for him this season? Well, there's a left wing spot here that's open. Do we think Martial plays on the left wing in the
Yes.
first game of the season?
First game of the season.
And
I
for the
believe
until
so.
Rashford gets back and we'll see how his form goes. What do you guys reckon?
I think that might happen. Martial on the left.
I think a bit of both. I like Martial up front in the 9. I do think he has good chemistry from the left with either Luke Shaw, Pogba, or even Rashford. And obviously up front, there's been times he's had good chemistry with Greenwood as well. So I feel like he's the one striker when we have to play with against a team that's got a low block. He can just give us something a little bit different. But as a starting forward, I still have Cavani there. Mason, as much as I want to see him up front, like watching these preseason games so far, he starts up front, but he seems to be drifting over to the right. So I feel like he's most comfortable coming off that wing now, and I think that's where we're going to be seeing the majority of this season. But as much as Martial is probably suited to the left, I do want to see him prove himself up front again because 19-20 season, he done pretty well, 23 goals. Last season, yeah, he was very shy. I think only 4 league goals. It's not good enough. But I want to see him prove himself, man, because he has been given the opportunity to play up front as a 9 for France before Benzema came back. So he's getting all the opportunities now. He's just got to take it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it will be a good couple of months for Martial in terms of he's getting an opportunity to prove himself. If he gets a few goals and he gets onto a good run of form, we know what Martial's like. When he's confident, he's quite a devastating player. You know, once he gets a couple of goals under his belt and he starts, take on everyone.
He looks like he's trimmed up a bit because obviously last season he looked like he bulked up, similar to what Lukaku did leading into that 18-19 season, and that just took a couple yards off him and then just became very sluggish in front of goal. And I think Martial, man, normally he's known as ice cold finisher, so him dropping a couple of pounds could possibly help him getting his goal scoring touch again.
I hope so, to be honest with you. Like I want him to succeed here, but
yeah.
You just never know with Martial, to be honest with you. Before we finish the stream, we do want to speak about what we are going to challenge for next season. Do you guys expect us to challenge for the Premier League or the Champions League? Or do you think that's asking too much of the squad and the manager? Start with you, Biz. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we can challenge for the league. Champions League is it's hard to say with the Champions League because obviously you don't know what you're going to get in the group stages and throughout the season, man, form does come into play and obviously luck as well. But for the Premier League, yeah, I do think so. We've got a new coach that's coming from Chelsea apparently, and he's helping us out with the set pieces and one-on-one attacking. So last season we conceded so many goals from set pieces. So if we can stop that by a large percentage, and obviously we just added Sancho in the attacking force, and to be honest, this is probably the first time we're going into the season pretty prepared and with a balanced unit. And I do think that this is probably the best time since post Fergie that we have a chance of winning the league. But with still 3 weeks left of the transfer window to go, it's hard to say because we're not sure how Man City. I mean, if they get Grealish and Kane, it's almost good night in immediate effect. And obviously, there's Liverpool as well. I think they're looking to try and get Saul Niguez. But right now, with the squad that we've got, I'm pretty confident that we can put a title challenge in.
No, it's fair enough. I think a lot of people believe that we can put a title challenge in. I'm not so sure personally. Big up Jeremiah in the chat as well. He says, no, get Martial out of there and put Ahmad. I don't think Ollie's going to start Ahmad at left wing, Jeremiah. But we can hope. We can hope we'll get a chance to see him. Shibam says, a third of our goals conceded were set piece goals. That is horrendous. It really is. Ugh.
Terrible.
So you
And
know what? It's
also,
true.
if
If we sort that out, then it would
yeah,
give us a better chance because we'll be conceding less goals, which means we'll be losing less games. So
and also, I think was it 1920 season there was 57 goals between Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood, and last season that completely dropped. Obviously, due to Martial's poor form and Greenwood's not so good start to the season. So, if them two can come back firing like they did season before
Mm.
last, literally, there's goals just flying in all over the place in this team. But it's what we do at the other end. So we just
yeah,
need
no,
to sort that shit out at the back.
no, yeah, no. I agree with you. To be honest
Yeah.
with you, hopefully we can sort it out next season. Indiana, do you think we can win a title next
No.
season?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Not gonna lie.
Believe.
I can't believe with McFred, man. I just can't. I can't do it. I want to. I just can't. We need that midfielder. It's the engine room. It's where games are won and lost in the midfield, and it worries me. I think Rashford being out. I think he's going to be a huge miss. I think he's going to be a massive miss, if I'm honest. But that being said, I do think Manchester United will surprise people this season. Most of the talk is about Man United either dropping out the top four or finishing fourth. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that. I think this team's very strong. I'll be interested to see what happens in terms of formations now. Now we've got a solid back four. If Luke Shaw can keep up his form, if Sancho can hit it flying, if Cavani can stay fit, Pogba, like we've got every chance of challenging for the title. Winning it, I can't see anyone but City, if I'm honest. Chelsea and Liverpool, they're about on the same level, if you ask me. If they sign Lukaku, I think he's going to cause a madness for them. So, yeah, we are still behind. We're still on catch up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, like, when you consider last summer, Ollie wanted a centre back and a right winger, and this summer we're rectifying the fact that we didn't get them last summer. So really and truly, we haven't signed anyone. That's how I'm going to do it.
Rachel, we've just replaced Valencia.
Yeah, well,
think about that.
We don't speak about that.
We haven't replaced Michael Carrick.
No, I know. Trust me. Like, I'm still here waiting for. I'm not going to be excited about anything until we get the midfielder.
Would you say
agree
Varane's only just really replaced Rio?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, of course. Think about the defenders that we've had in the last few years. Right? We were playing centre back partnerships of like Evans and Jones, Smalling, Evans.
Blackett, McNair.
Yeah, Blackett, McNair. That's what I mean.
And before that, Michael Carrick was filling in, right?
And Daley Blind.
Yeah.
Daley Blind, yep.
To be fair, Daley Blind actually did quite well there, considering he's not a centre back. But yeah, it's the fact of the matter is, I would have rather seen Daley Blind in the midfield because I liked him as a midfielder. I really liked the way he played football, and I felt like it was just a waste to have him as centre back. But you know, it's a joke, really. If I'm being honest with you, it's just a complete joke. Vita, what do you think? Do you think we can challenge for the Premier League next season?
I would wish, but I don't feel with, and I don't want to go into the manager or anything like that, but with the way we can play at times, I don't feel like we're consistent enough over a 38 game season to say, title contenders. Not only that, I personally don't. I feel like with a team, you have to include your bench, and I don't know if Ali just yet is. I don't think he's confident with his bench just yet. I feel like if we have any shot out of the two Premier League or Champions League, we have a better run at the Champions League because you have to just show up on your night. You don't have to show up over. Yes, you have to show up over the entire Champions League, but it's not. Oh, every week we're playing Champions League. You play it every once in a while when you come down to the quarters, the semis. It fills into your schedule. I think we could maybe go and put in a foot for that versus the Prem. I don't know what is this top four, United coming out of top four. I just hope that we give people a rude awakening to say we was never going, you just never recognized us, because it's the disrespect to United is just, I have never heard it before. We brought in a class defender, and one of the best young under 21 wingers, and we're dropping our top four. What sense does this make? I don't understand it. I get it, but it's like, come on. Come on. Just because we're building up our team, it's okay to say that you're scared. It's fine to say that you're scared. It's all right. But that's how I just see it.
Do you know what I think it is? I think so. Under Ollie, we've had so every season he's been here. So I know he only had that interim, which is only half a season. But in each of those seasons, he's had this disgusting run where people are really calling for Ollie out. I'm talking about over 10 games, us dropping a ridiculous amount of points, where it seems every time that he's going to get sacked.
Yeah.
He needs to have a season where that doesn't happen. And this is the question that I have for him. Can he not go on one of those runs? Like, it's okay to like lose a game, then draw, and then go on a winning run. But this thing that he does, it's not just him, it's the players as well, of course. But this thing where we lose like 3 out of 5 games and we draw one as well, that can't happen. We can't have like a poor start and have to play catch up again, because that's what happened last season. Sorry, we have to make sure that we are consistent, and that's where I don't know because Ollie ends up just changing things around, and then we come back, we go on a good run, we catch up, and then we sort of peter off towards the end of the season again. So this needs to not happen. This is where the consistency, as Vita said, needs to come in. We can't be playing catch up. We have to just try and be consistent with our wins.
You know, I'm
But
not defending on that start last season. That start last season was embarrassing, but I do think that was probably due to us not having a preseason.
A lot of
Literally
teams
having.
But can you
I think
argue?
us and City were the only ones that had one game. I think everyone else got a good 4 or 5 games and a good 3, 4
No, we
weeks to
had
prepare.
one training session.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We had one game against Villa, but none of our senior players played it. I get that point. I'm just saying that it carried on a little bit after, in terms of, so we went back to the McFred, we played against Newcastle, we did well, and then the whole Champions League thing happened. I'm so sorry about my dog. She just has a habit of doing this when I'm streaming. But yeah, we had the Champions League incident where we dropped points to Istanbul, then we beat them, then we dropped points to PSG and Leipzig. These horrible runs, and then at the end of the season we drop off. I get that we were fatigued, I get that, but this has happened every single season he's been here. So
But Rachel,
you know.
there shouldn't be there shouldn't be any excuses anymore. So
yeah.
we've now got now Varane's in. You've got Lindelof and Bailly on the bench. Shouldn't be any excuses defensively at all, unless you're talking about the wider players. Then okay, fine, whatever. In terms of midfield, I hope we do sign a Neves or someone, and then there's no excuses in there for me. The front three, there's no excuses there for me at all. Like, Donny's been bulking up now. You've got Cavani, Greenwood's had another year under his belt. Martial coming back fit. Rashford will be back. Sancho, even Dan James is there. There's no excuses to change it up, and that's where Ollie's biggest failures have been in his substitutes, really, and changing the games up. And I know Danny. I can hear Danny already with the amount of goals we've scored from substitutions, but it's not just that. It's being able to dominate and kill off games, and some of the substitutions have just been crazy. Like you were saying earlier, bringing Rashford on when we're 4-0 up, things like that. They're little things that over the season you don't need him to play those minutes. Does that make sense? Like he didn't need those minutes over the season, and there's enough depth there now, all around the squad, to change these games rather than playing well.
Do you know what I think it is, though? I don't have a problem with Ollie's substitutions in the smaller games, because smaller games, I think that regardless of the first 11 that we have out there, we should be beating those sort of teams, especially at home, which is where we struggled. For some reason, we just struggled at home. But I think my issue with Ollie and his substitutions are in the big games. I don't like his mentality, especially in the last 15 minutes. In the majority of those games, we were drawing, right? And the amount of times he just refused to try and go for the win. Like, if we won against, say, City and then lost against Chelsea, we'd have more points than what we would if we drew against them, because you'd have 3 points. And he doesn't see it that way for whatever reason. He would rather go for the 0-0 or stay at 1-1 or whatever it is. He needs to start turning up some of those draws into wins. Yes, you might lose a couple, but winning the games will get you more points than just drawing them all. And that's where I think he needs to make better decisions in those games. Because we dropped too many points against the big teams, like way too many. It's ridiculous. And we had opportunities to win, like the Liverpool game. I know a lot of people go back to it. The Liverpool game, we had an opportunity to win that game because Liverpool were in shambles.
I would
And
even
even
say
the game
the
at Old
Arsenal
Trafford.
game as well. I would
Yeah,
even say
even
the
the game at Old Trafford
Arsenal.
is crazy. Hmm?
I would even say the Arsenal game. We just had many chances. It's just that we never. I don't think Ali was ready to put the front foot in. I don't think that. I think in the back of his head sometimes Ali just plays pragmatic because he would rather say, "Oh, I got the draw. I got a loss," but because I didn't get exposed and fully, that's fine, and he can go on. I think his mentality is really, if I don't win against the big six, but if I can win against a Villa or Brighton, I will do that. I don't know why,
To be
because
fair, that is kind of how you win a league because there is only like if we drew home and away both games against City and Liverpool, but bashed out your other teams, we would still win the league because there's still only those are only 2 or 3 teams versus the other 17. So I'm not that. Unlike maybe others, I'm not that opposed to Oli. If it was a concern, like so long as we don't lose away to City or away to Liverpool, whatever, I'm not that bothered. If it means that like you're winning away and home against Villa, against Leeds, against Sheffield, etc. And for me, actually one reason that cost us is that for whatever reason we weren't able to. We lost against I think Sheffield United twice, home and away. We dropped points against West Brom. We dropped points against Crystal Palace. And already, if you pick up those games, we're already only, 3 points behind City? Because I think we're only 10 points behind them before. But to be honest, I think top 4 is going to be fine because Arsenal and Spurs are in shambles right now. So I don't think we have to worry about Arsenal. We're in a better position than those clubs that are currently in a crisis right now.
RDS, man. Don't listen. I've got a bad feeling about Arsenal.
No.
I do.
I don't.
There's no bad
I
feeling
do.
about it. I don't understand. This is, bro, I don't understand. Arteta basic. Is it because he won the FA Cup that people are ignoring that he finished 8th
No,
twice?
it's not. It's because they're
They
sneaky
finished
fuckers.
8th
That's what it
twice.
is. They're sneaky fuckers, and I don't trust Arsenal, and that's what it is. That's why I never ever count them out. They've got no European football. They're definitely gonna buy more players. They're gonna spend.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get Aaron Ramsdale. I agree with you, Indiana. Ramsdale is gonna come clutch, man. He's gonna do bits.
No, they're either gonna get.
Partey's now
Partey,
their best DM, is now going to be out for 6 weeks. He's picked up an injury, so I don't know how they're going to manage that.
Don't worry, Xhaka signing a new deal.
Yeah.
Preach, So maybe
I think Arsenal will start well and then they'll fall off like they usually do.
Yeah.
And then they'll have like a run at the end to try and make up for it, like they always
I hope
do.
you're right.
I'll
you're
give
right.
it to Arsenal. They
Like
make
Indiana,
mistakes.
they've always done that. Even with their better teams, they've done that. So I don't expect much from Arsenal. They might win a League Cup or something. No one cares about that. I don't see them being a massive threat in the Premier League, to be honest with you.
they'll struggle against. They'll do what he did last season, which is like, I don't confess that Arsenal are going to ball against. Maybe they'll have a good game against Chelsea. Maybe they might beat us at Old Trafford again. I don't know. Cool, but they're not. The problem like last season is that we had the reverse where they're going to struggle against Brighton, against Villa, against all the bottom teams. They struggle to score goals and break. They actually struggle to score and break down teams now. And Aubameyang looks like he's retired basically after.
But that's why they're trying to buy Maddison, right?
Well, so I think ultimately, you can't really say until the transfer window's over, because Chelsea, they won the Champions League, but they need to have a striker, because I don't see how they're going to score 20 plus goals.
Lukaku, so that's Chelsea done.
Are they? Is that?
Yeah, it is likely they're getting Lukaku now. I think they're giving up on Haaland.
Yeah.
Haaland wants United. That's what.
That's why I say Haaland to United next season. Question mark?
Yeah. No, it's happening. It's happening.
Hashtag, man. Hashtag.
I don't trust anyone. I think he's going to Bayern Munich. But if he does come, that would be pretty
That's
great.
typical Bayern, though, isn't it? I thought he'd be going to City, though. Oh wait, no, City want Kane, don't they? City going to get Kane, aren't they? And Grealish.
Yeah.
He's going to
City
United.
get Kane and Grealish is over. We don't even have to have a conversation if City get Kane and Grealish. This only works if City don't get Kane and Grealish.
But
I'm not worried about City getting Grealish.
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
Kane
gonna
one I
say.
get. The Grealish one, I don't think it's. I think Grealish is more of the same. If you know what I mean. He's never been outstanding at scoring goals. I know he's a creator and he's very good, but you have to understand that at City he's going to have less of the ball than what he would at Villa. He might not be as productive because there's so many players there. Everything goes through KDB more or less. So I'm not saying he'll be bad there. I think he'll still be good, but I don't think he's like a game changer. I think Kane is the game changer.
Yeah,
or a
Kane,
striker.
Yes.
personally.
I would much rather Grealish playing against us than Sterling, to be honest. I think Sterling
Really?
causes
We've always
yeah. I
had-
think,
No, but Sterling's never scored against us.
Yeah, we've
no,
always had.
Sterling
he
doesn't
doesn't
have the
score.
games.
No, he doesn't score against us, but he causes us so much problem. He takes players out of the game.
Does he? Luke Shaw always
He
pockets
does.
Raheem Sterling. He pockets
AW,
Sterling.
yeah, AWB does well
Aaron
against us. I think.
Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
I think he's dangerous. I think Sterling's dangerous. He's just constantly running at you, constantly causing problems, constantly running in the box, and then leaves those spaces open. And that's how Gundogan scored that goal.
That's
I don't know. Apart from that, like little top corner goal that Grealish scored against us, there's a few other times he's played against AWB. He's actually swapped over to the right wing.
Yeah, but that's because Grealish likes the ball to feet, and AWB deals with people that like the ball to feet quite well.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And like Luke Shaw probably do well against Grealish as well. Yeah, I'm not worried about the Grealish. Like, don't get me wrong, I think he'll be great for City, and once he understands the way Pep wants to play and he gets involved in that more, I think he'll be great for them. I just don't think he's a game changer. I think he's just more of the same personally. But that striker thing with City, like I remember watching them against Leeds when they had like 30 chances, and they should have scored. They should have won like 10-0, and they just couldn't win the game. Like you put Harry Kane or any clinical striker in there, and they're winning that game by a ridiculous amount of goals.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's
I
another
think
thing we have to deal with as well. Man City will have a very high goal difference, and we concede too many goals. This defense, it needs to be sorted out, because if anything comes down to goal difference, which it could potentially because of how tight things could be, you know, Man City will just blow everyone away because they scored too many goals. It's actually embarrassing.
How many goals? I don't think they scored much more than us last season, though.
Well, that's because
They concede a lot less though. That's what I mean.
That's what was our problem.
That's because we put like 9 past Southampton and 6 past Leeds, I think. So we elevated our goal difference. But we need to at least have a few more games like that where we're actually putting like a good 6 or 7 past certain teams. I think that'd be helpful.
Yeah. Do you know what else would be helpful? You know, being 2-0 up and then you know keeping the lead. That would be nice as well.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. Rachel, we did the opposite though. A lot of times we were 2-0 down, and then we would come back. That was the problem. We conceded too many goals early, and then we would come back 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, etc. So we need to stop conceding early goals in the first half and being comeback FC in the second.
We also need
All I want is for the opposition team to have a free kick and me not have a heart attack. That's what I want.
Or corners. Or corners.
Yeah, or a corner, exactly. Like none of that. Shivam says, can we say 85 points, semi-finals and Champions League and a trophy is good? Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good season, to be honest with you.
Semi-finals in the Champions League is going to be...
on the real though, when Ole first signed the 3-year deal, I don't think anyone was saying, but within that 3 years he's going to win the league. I think everyone was just saying, just steady the ship, get us back towards winning things, and have United looking like a team that's not far off.
Yeah.
Basically ticked all those boxes, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think, and that's the problem now with people, is that now that we have this team and he renews his contract, people are looking for him to win the league, looking for him to win the Champions League, when we all knew he was in his one priority was to steady the ship, calm waters, see out blue before we get in somebody who can actually go in and win us a league title. And now everyone's for some reason forgot that, which doesn't make sense to me, because that wasn't his priority in the beginning, to win the title. As much as he says it is, it isn't.
What doesn't make sense to me is the hardcore Ollie outers. That doesn't make sense to me at all. Is they'll say, oh, you know, this team's ready, we should be winning the league, and on the other hand, it's we need a right back, we need midfielders. You can't have it both ways. Like we know where this team is, and it's going in the right direction. And I think Ollie's doing a great job. Is he the best manager in the world? No. Is he going to win us titles? I don't think so. But what he leaves behind for the next manager to come in will be great. Will be incredible. And again, it's short term pain for long term gain. I don't want Manchester United to be just winning a trophy here and there. I want us to dominate the league.
Even if you're the best manager in the world, doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win trophies. I mean, Poch is a better manager than Ollie people say. Did he win League One last? Did he win? Did he win League One last season? No, he didn't. And as much as I love Pep, and Pep has been great winning titles, he spent over £1 billion and not even sniffed the Champions League. So, a better coach increases your chances of getting it. But let's not make the confusion that if you just sign another manager and suddenly that manager is going to now win the Premier League, win the Champions League, etc. We might just do the same thing or similar. So unless there's actually clear regression, or the players don't want to play for him, and he doesn't achieve the targets the board set out for him, he's obviously going to stay. So
Yeah, that's another key point people forget, right? We didn't sack Mourinho or LBG or whoever because they didn't win the Premier League. We sacked them because the players didn't want to play for them anymore. That's a big part of it. And Ollie's got a very good relationship with the players. They all seem to want to play for him. Whatever reason, if you think he's too soft, it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is those players are happy, and that's always a big part of keeping a manager, because most of the time, managers break down in terms of relationship with their players. But that hasn't happened with Ollie.
As well, consecutive seasons, whereas Van Gaal finished outside of top four, and Mourinho was when we not 10th when we sacked him. I think we were 10th with like 15 points from 4th or something. So
10th or 7th?
Oh, what's
Yeah, I
that?
think it was
Jose.
left. Yeah.
We were 19 points off Liverpool.
No, I understand being 19 points off Liverpool, but I'm telling the league position.
Oh, I think we were about
off
12
the top
or 13, something like that.
Off top four. So I remember because Ollie, I know we didn't get top four this season, but he still managed to recover. It was something ridiculous. Like we were 15, 16 points. He managed to recover 15, 16 in such a short period of time. So
we actually got up into the top 4 for a short period, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So but then we bottled it at the end with those horrendous games that we won't speak about.
Yes. Cardiff and Hull.
That
it's if he whether we like it or not, the board, whatever you say, their standard is going to be, it's an Arsenal standard. It is at a minimum you have to get top 4. So if he gets top 4 and he gets one consecutively season on season, even if he doesn't get a trophy, I don't think the board sack him.
No, they don't.
Anyway, Ollie leaves is he has a bad spell when it doesn't look recoverable for us to get top 4 at that moment.
Yeah, as soon as it's mathematically impossible or the players fall out with him,
he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Until then, he keeps his job.
But the thing is, you look at the coaching staff, you look at the environment at Manchester United. It's kind of built around this kind of mates, kind of family type of sort of. All the coaches or team, there's people know each other, so it seems to be that it's almost the environment Manchester United currently right now is almost built for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And it's true, so if you just sack him, you're going to sack all that stuff that's around him as well. I'm not entirely sure whether a new coach comes in and works with, Mutar and Phelan and all these different people,
No, absolutely, I agree. Vibes he says Indiana, they signed Benjamin White and the Dog Whisperer. What's his name? Is it Tavares?
Yeah.
Interesting character. That's all I'm going to say. Indoval says Ramsdale moving like Matt Hancock at Arsenal. Find me some cheeks. You
know what? I watched the game against Chelsea on Sunday, and they actually played all right. Going forward, they look pretty decent, but their high line is going to kill them because they just ain't got the recovery. And plus, man, they just don't know. They really want to do this passing out from the back stuff, and it's just not for them.
Yeah, most teams are doing that, to be honest.
Yeah. I think everyone's just been sidetracked by Pep, obviously bringing that style with Barcelona from 2009 to now. And obviously him achieving that system with Man City. I just feel like everyone's trying to just imitate it, but there's only so much you can do, really.
No, that's fair enough. There's a quick question, though. Does anyone here think that Leicester are a threat for top 4, or do you think they're just going to bottle it again? Do you think they're going to be that team where they play all the top 6 sides, or other top 6 sides, and they take points from them, so there'll be a factor in the top 4 race, but they won't actually be in it?
Yeah, they'll cause problems.
Yeah, I think they will.
Leicester will cause problems. I think losing Maddison, if Maddison goes to Arsenal, I think that's going to be huge for Leicester. He's a big player for them.
I'm interested to see how the AFCON, because the AFCON is in January and there'll be a lot of key players. So like Liverpool,
Oh
will lose
yes.
Salah and Mane,
Mm,
like a good period. So what's going to be influenced? Because we don't, I think obviously Baye will go and Diallo will go, but I think that's it from our African contingent United. But
We
obviously,
need Senegal to get to the final because of
yeah, because Chelsea have Mendy is
Mendy.
Chelsea. So they're going to play
Liverpool as well. Look at Liverpool. Like we need
Yeah.
Salah
Mane.
and Mane is going.
and
Yeah.
also, isn't Hudson Odoi playing for Ghana now?
Oh yes, he is. Yeah, I think.
Well,
Yeah, I think he's.
Indeed,
looking
obviously
for
be
Ghana.
Nigerian, so he's going to leave Leicester. So Mahrez will leave City. I think that's the only.
Ziyech will go with
Ziyech will go as with Chelsea.
Morocco.
Yeah, Chelsea are actually losing a fair few actually from there. So that might be a factor in the January month to early February period.
We don't play Chelsea then, do we? We don't get to shoot a Kepa, right?
No, I don't think we play Chelsea then.
Mm-mm.
But Chelsea plays City and Liverpool then, from what I remember. So
Yeah, but
Oh,
that's going to be a bore fest, isn't it? Because there's going to be no Salah, no Mane, no Mendy.
Wow, Salah as well.
to be honest, you can use Jota to score against Kepa, man. Jota will score a hat trick against Kepa. Right? I'm saying that now.
Origi 4 goals.
Origi will score goals against Kepa.
Oh, didn't
What
you
do
see the meltdown?
Do you think he will have a?
yesterday? Origi apparently is injured and he's going to be staying at Liverpool this season when they were looking to sell him. So
He's
Liverpool
Phil
having an
Jones
absolute
them,
meltdown. Yeah,
He's Phil Jones them. That's what he's done.
yeah, very
What do you
smart.
think of Jota? Do you think he's gonna have the same kind of season he had last year for Liverpool?
Yeah, I think Jota's been very consistent in the way he plays, even back with Wolves. And I said it on the terrace when last season when they signed Thiago and Jota. Jota will be a bigger player for Liverpool than Thiago, and I still think that he's relentless. He just keeps going. That guy.
There was a
pain in
question mark
everyone's
on him
arse.
in the Euros. I don't think he was that great, to be honest.
Who, Thiago?
Nah,
I just
Jota
watched
in the
the Euros.
Euros.
But no one from Portugal was, to be fair.
Yeah, true.
Apart from Renato Santos, he looked very good when he was on. But overall, they were pretty bad.
Diaz was bad. That surprised me. Diaz was very bad. I don't know what was doing there, but Pepe was okay though. Shout out to my man Pepe.
No, that's fair enough. Before we wrap up, give me your top 4 predictions for this season. We'll start with you, RDS. Name me your first, second, third.
I'm gonna do some reverse psychology here because I feel like if you do reverse psychology, so my reverse psychology is Chelsea are going to be first, City are going to be second, Liverpool third, and United fourth. That's my reverse psychology out there. So like, it is Chelsea. If Chelsea fans listening, like you guys have got the title in the bag. Just put it out. My heart says that we'll probably get second again, and that it's difficult because you just don't know what the end of the transfer window is. So I'm going to make on the assumption that like Chelsea and City get strikers. So I'm going under that assumption that Chelsea and City are going to get strikers. If they do, then I think City will get first. I think that we still get second. Chelsea third, Liverpool fourth.
Okay, fair enough. Vita, go on. Tell us your predictions.
I would say Chelsea first, purely because
Reverse psychology.
Yup, psychology. I would say City second, United third, and maybe Leicester fourth. Maybe Leicester fourth, depending on if they bottle it or not. Because Leicester's team actually looks pretty decent. They look decent, and Liverpool, as much as they are coming back, Van Dijk's coming back. I don't know what players they're trying to sign, but I feel like Liverpool's slowly starting to decline, and they might be going back to a top 4 battle rather than title contending battle. So I feel like United might come third, and City will come second. But if City gets a striker, yeah, that's curtains really for the league if that's the case. City might just do it, which I'm not too fond of.
No, I hear that, to be honest with you. But I would. It sounds bad. I would rather City won it than Liverpool. I can't have Liverpool winning leagues again. I don't enjoy it at all. It's just
It made me
makes
feel
me
sick.
ill.
It made
Yeah.
me feel sick.
Exactly. Indiana, what do you think for top four?
Oh,
No.
I'm going on hopes and dreams with AFCON. I'm going with that. So I'm going to go with
Oh no.
and everyone's making their signings. I'm going to go with City. Unfortunately, win the league. I think Chelsea finished second, Capitax, and United get third, and Liverpool just scraped fourth. I think they're just scraped fourth again because of AFCON. I think losing Salah and Mane is huge for them. At the same time, is huge. But that being said, Lukaku could do a madness. Harry Kane could get injured. You never know. You never know what's going to happen in the season. But I think signing Harry Kane it has to be City.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Biz, I have a feeling you're going to say Man United to win the league. I don't know. I feel like you're that kind of optimist.
I'm not gonna jinx it. All right, City, United, Liverpool, Leicester.
I love the
I feel like Chelsea aren't gonna be the Chelsea that we think we're gonna see this season. You see, with Chelsea, there's no loyalty with them players. There's no loyalty. They've not had a bad spell under Tuchel. I think once they have their first bad spell, we're gonna see how much do they really want it, how much they're gonna come back. I don't know why. I just see them not being what we expect.
You know what? I understand that because Chelsea is just one of those teams, right, where they'll win something major and then they just won't win anything.
Yeah.
So they won their Champions League. They don't go and win the Premier League after. I was having this conversation with Slens last night. Actually, they don't seem to. Whenever they win the Champions League, they're never at their strongest. They just won it because they've gone on a good run after sacking a manager. Things are going their way. They don't capitalize, which is something that a lot of Chelsea fans have complained about. And then they just underachieve the next season. So I don't expect Chelsea to win the league at all. I think Man City will probably win it because their team's ridiculously strong already. They have that synergy because they've been together for a while, and just adding Kane to it just makes it a joke. But second, I think Liverpool will just finish second, and then we'll finish third, and then Chelsea or Leicester to finish fourth. I think Chelsea will scrape fourth, but yeah, I think Liverpool will. I think what Liverpool are going to do is they're going to go on a run that makes it safe for them to get to deal with like Mane and Salah leaving. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't see them starting poorly or anything. I think they'll be all right. But yeah,
will Van Dijk be the same player following that injury? Like, would he be a kind of like when you're out for that long? I'm not saying he can't be good, but there's always that kind of like, can you really push yourself as much as you did when you were out of the injury for fear of, or what happens if I get injured again, etc. That's my only thing with Liverpool defenders. They've all been injury prone, and I do wonder whether they'll be able to even keep two. I know they signed Konate, so that will help, but I just don't know whether. I'm not 100% sure Van Dijk will be the same player he was. But
well, to be fair though, even if Van Dijk is half the player that he was, that's still a big threat.
Oh
that is still a big threat.
True.
Yeah, that's true.
No, that's facts. To be fair, Van Dijk's a very good player, and like a lot of people will say, he's an intelligent player. Like, he's not someone that just relies on his pace. He actually knows where to stand and where to be. He might get there a little bit slower, but he'll know where to be. And that's the difference between him and a lot of other centre-backs now. There's too many centre-backs that rely on pace, and they don't actually position themselves well. I don't think Van Dijk has that problem personally. But yeah, guys, we have been going on for an hour and a half. Thank you to everyone that's been watching. Some great comments. Thank you to the panelists, obviously. Biz, we will definitely get you on again soon. Vita, always a pleasure. RDS, always welcome on the United show as well. and obviously
Appreciate it.
Grandad Indie. Make sure you guys follow them on Twitter. I'm going to put their handles and whatnot in the video description, and I'll put their channels on as well. But yeah, thank you to everyone that's been watching. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. And yeah, tomorrow is going to be Grounded Chelsea, hosted by Jem. So that should be a good show. Thursday is Grounded Arsenal. It's going to be new. Shockstar and Big Gunner are going to be hosting that. So that should be really interesting. Friday marks the return of Fraud Watch, and Cam is going to be hosting that. So I'm so curious to see what kind of chaos happens there. And then Saturday will be the offside rule, which will make its return. So thank you everyone, and good night.